Can I tell you that I get quite a few requests from folks asking me to identify sticky stuff on their plants? Well, today I hope to solve your sticky situation. And as we're going around our house, taking care of our plants, watering them lovingly, we might notice this glisten out of the corner of our eyes. And then as we go in to stroke our beloved plants, we may find that they're actually sticky. So no need to panic quite yet. Let's explore possibilities of why our plants may be sticky. Firstly, check if the plants around the sticky plant are actually in bloom. Some plants, like Hoya carrii, for instance, actually produce quite a bit of nectar. And in this case, it actually produces this viscous amber-colored nectar that can often stain your shelves or other plants. And I actually had another Hoya macrophylla, that actually was giving some pretty viscous nectar blooms, and it was dropping down onto its own leaves. So that's something that you should look for. Additionally, when female flowers of Anthurium, for example, are receptive, and this is one that is not receptive yet, but when they do get receptive, they'll start to be sticky to the touch, and you may even see some small drops along the spadix. Now, lots of sticky nectar may be produced in order to attract certain pollinators or even detract certain insects. Whatever the case, the plant developed the strategy likely for good reason, and you may just be discovering that in your home. So another great example is sundews, or if you have some of those carnivorous plants that actually produce some sticky substances around it in order to be able to draw insects in and then capture them. Now, if the nectar is dropping onto your plant or your shelf below, then I would clean it up, because it may just not stain the surface, but it's also on the plant leaves below, and it can invite some possible pathogens, or dust will get stuck on it, or it just may look really unsightly. Now, next to nectar, it may be that your plant has nectaries. And I know nectar and nectaries actually sound alike, but they are in fact different. Now, over 100 plant families and almost 4,000 species of plants actually have some sort of extrafloral nectaries, which, like nectar, is this yummy carbohydrate-rich substance that typically attracts ants, which then in turn can protect the plant from herbivores. Now, a lot of philodendron has a lot of these extrafloral nectaries, which I can just show you along this plant. So you could see along the mid vein here of the leaf. And then you'll see these bright red dots. And if I put my finger on one of these ones it has this like little exudate coming out of it, then you'll see that these are actually quite sticky. And you might think that this is actually from, some terrible insect sucking on the plant, but this is not. These are all examples of extrafloral nectaries. Now, I also noticed the other day on my Ripsalis, this is my Ripsalis curioides, and look at all these little crystalline bits that are coming out of the stem here. Now, this may have actually started sticky, but has hardened up and turned into these crystals. And I, of course, being the curious person that I am, tried it, and it actually tastes like sugar. So this is another great example of a plant like this Ripsalis exuding some drops from its stems that were less gooey and more crystallized. So anyway, I can imagine that many Ripsalis actually produce some candy for insects and arthropods, and this is really nothing to worry about, because this is just natural for the plant to do. Now, nectaries are woefully understudied, but I think they are a really fascinating occurrence, and I do hope that there are some good grad students out there that will commit themselves to studying nectaries more. And one hypothesis I love is that extrafloral nectaries in particular are so important to ants that their presence on plants has potentially helped establish world dominance of ants. Now, just how dominant are ants? Well, there is estimated to be between 1 and 10 quadrillion ants on Earth, which is way too many zeros for our brains to process, but I think quadrillion is like 15 zeros or something like that. So it's a lot of ants. Now, I could go on and on about nectaries because they really do warrant their own episode, but this episode is about identifying your sticky plant substances, and that means we need to move on to the next possibility, which is honeydew, which is a nice word for insect frass, which is a nice word for insect poop, which is a nice word for insect shit. And this is usually caused by some sap-sucking mother suckers. And I was allotted my one curse word limit in this video, so that is the only one I can put in. So one thing you should look out for is that it's not the nectars or it's not the nectaries, is whether your plant, or for that matter, any other plant that around the sticky plant, is being sucked to death by pesky little sap-sucking insects like aphids or scale, for instance. So some insects, such as those, tap into the phloem of the plants and feed on the sugary sap. And then what they do is they poop out the sugar from their hind ends, and that can also attract ants, but it can also drop onto other plants below. And then that can bring in like anything from like black sooty mold or the like, and that could cover and coat your plant leaves. So you'll need to actually clean that up, but more importantly, you'll need to identify where the pests are and then handle them that way. Now, if you do identify some sapsuckers, then you will need to take that appropriate action depending on the pest. And unfortunately, you will need to stay on top of them because they really do proliferate like crazy. And I've touched upon this in some of my other videos. So if you're curious on how to deal with certain pests, then you could check out my pest management playlist here on YouTube, or you could dive into the extensive pest management sections in the Houseplant Masterclass. So guys, let me know if you've noticed some sticky substances on your plants, not your pants, on your plants, and what you think it is, and tell me in the comments below. And please guys, keep it PG and PC, folks. All right, see you in the next episode. Did you know that you can be a supporter of Plant One On Me? Well, take a look at our sustaining membership, because through your direct support, it helps allow us to keep producing high quality videos. And some of the easiest ways that you could support are liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that notification button to get these videos delivered to your inbox. If you're interested in furthering your houseplant education, then take a look at our courses and digital offerings, like Houseplant Basics for Beginners and the Houseplant Masterclass, both of which will give you a certificate of completion when you're finished with the courses. Information on all these offerings can be found on the website at homesteadbrooklyn.com.